Hey everybody, Questwise here, and today I want to do something a little bit different. Um, I promise you, it is role playing related. I don't know how many of my subscribers are Magic the Gathering fans. I used to be really, really big into playing Magic, even into the tournament scene and stuff. But it just got too much for me. It just got too much for me to keep up with. And so now, if I do play, I do play on a casual level. I like building themed decks, whether it be dragons or goblins or angels or whatever, or even colored themes. That's one of my, I guess, if I'm going to play now, that's the kind of way I prefer to play, is to do a sort of casual, sort of laid back with some friends doing some themed decks. It's not really, for me anymore, it's not about winning. It's not about whatever. It's about deck construction and if I'm having fun and, if my theme pulls off correctly or not. One of my favorite colors playing Magic was black. I really liked playing black. I had a really cool Liliana Vest deck that I used to play quite a bit. And the one thing I wanted it to do, if I could pull it off maybe like once every 5 games, I was happy. And that was being able to bring my entire graveyard pile back into the game and stuff. But what I wanted to do today is I found this today while I was out and about. I thought it was kind of a cool little product. I've not seen this before. Like I said, I'm not really buying a lot of Magic cards right now, so I'm not, these may have been out for a while. It's the first time I've seen them in the wild, though. This is it's a black themed booster pack, and it contains 35 cards. And this is from, I believe, the newest set, Throne of Eldraine. But as you can see, on the back it tells you there's 35 cards. If you throw in 25 lands, you can start building a 60-card deck. But what I thought I would do is kind of an unboxing video today. I've not seen any of these cards before. I'm going to crack it open, and I'm going to show you a little trick that I use when I'm playing D&D, into how sometimes a lot of the players that I play with, they know the game very, very well, and they know all the monsters that are available, and sometimes they know the stats a little bit too well for some of the monsters, and so sometimes I will tweak the monsters a bit and to try to throw my players off to make it unique and different. But one of the other things I like to do too is, and since they're owned by the same company, I felt this was kind of apropos, but what I like to do is I like sometimes to take Magic cards and create creatures by using the Dungeon Master's Guide to throw my players off a little bit. Creatures of sort of my own creation, and I'll show you how I do that. But first, let's crack this open, this pack first. And like I said, I've not seen this product before, so I'm not even really sure what to expect in this thing. Looks like it opens pretty easily from the bottom. And inside we have this cool little sleeve. I really like that. That's kind of fun. Slides off, and here we have, oh, this is kind of cool. They give you a little turn order card, and we'll take a look at that in a second. I apologize in advance for the crinkling of the cellophane. Get that out of the way. All right, so let's look at this. This is kind of cool. So, little reference card in the back. So if you're new, kind of gives you all the items that you can do on a turn, which is kind of cool. Appreciate that. That's kind of fun. And so here's our 35 cards. So we've got Lost Legion, which is common. Memory Theft. The other thing that's kind of cool too is to use some of these cards as spell cards, sorcery cards, to create new spells and stuff as well too, or twists on things. Tempting Witch. Ooh, that's a really cool card. Forever Young. Sir Conrad the Grim. Ooh, we might, let's set that one aside. That might be a cool one to create an NPC out of, maybe a villain. Hengewalker. Some cool stuff in here. Witch's Cottage. Ooh, you know what? I just came across something cool. We might use Tempting Witch in the Witch's Cottage to create some cool monster there. Reeve's Soul. Bake into a Pie. That's kind of cool too. We might add that to our idea. Wicked Guardian. That's the one that's on listed on the cover here. This woman here. Cool. Human Noble. Reaper of the Night. Again, I'm not sure. You know, this is kind of cool. Little book-like thing at the bottom here. Not encountered that before. Might have to look into that. Barrow Witches. Smitten Swordmaster. Again, another one of those kind of cool book-looking things at the bottom there. Kind of interesting. Bell of the Brawl. That's pretty clever. I like that. That's fun. Lockwaith Paladin. Again, these are going to be all black cards because it is a black themed deck, or black themed booster. More Barrow Witches. Smitten Swordmaster. Order of Midnight. That's kind of cool. Let's see. That was a not a rare, but a, you know, Signpost Scarecrow. Another Paladin. Epic Downfall. Foreboding Fruit, excuse me. Another Noble. Another Paladin. So this is, yeah, these are kind of Festive Funeral. So this would be really good to just throw some lands into and build a deck out of. Kind of fun. Bacon to Pie. So you get multiple copies of certain things, which I like. Spinning Wheel. It's kind of witch themed. I like that. It's kind of cool. Another Noble. Cauldron Familiar. Cool. Every good witch has to have a familiar, right? Another Tempting Witch. And Giant's Skewer. And this is our rare Black Lance Paragon. Again, like I said, I don't know too much about this set, but that'd be kind of cool. I might build a deck around this just for fun, casual play. I like the witch theme to it. So I think what we're going to do today is we're going to use this witch theme that they got going on here. We're going to create a new monster. And I'll show you how I do that using the Tempting Witch and the Witch's Cottage. This is kind of fun, right? Especially right now, just before Halloween. It'd be kind of cool to do like a Ravenloft kind of adventure using the witch and her cottage. Maybe even the Baked into a Pie card as well. But what I do now, I know that you can already, you know, use witches and stuff in the monster manual and such. But, you know, to throw my players off a little bit, what I'd like to do is, you know, create something, maybe something new, see what we can do with it. So, what's great about the Dungeon Master's Guide for 5th edition is that there, in the very back of this, is a section on creating new monsters. You know, creating monsters, modifying monsters. This is on page 273 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. And what I like to do is, so modifying a monster is really interesting, and maybe that's what we'll use today. Is we'll take a creature and maybe kind of twist it a little bit, and that's, you know, something I'll look at as well. The other thing I tend to look at too is the power and the defense of the creature, to kind of give me an idea of how powerful they thought it should be. So it's a 1/3, so the defensive end of it is a little bit higher than its attack power, which lets me know that maybe it's going to do more things like, rather than casting offensive spells, offensive spells, there will probably be more like defensive type things, wards, hexes, that kind of stuff, which is, you know, works really well for a witch type character. So on the next page, 274, is a chart that allows you to sort of create monster statistics by challenge rating. So, you know, we're looking at maybe like a challenge rating level 1. So this will kind of give us a good idea of like how many hit points maybe, attack bonus, damage per round, saves, armor, you know, all that kind of stuff. Great stuff in there. I kind of want the witch to be sort of the big enemy of the adventure. So, I mean, this is all kind of, you know, it's kind of stream of consciousness here, but maybe you'll go with a CR1. Gives her, you know, a decent armor class, you know, a decent amount of hit points and stuff as well too. So we'll probably go in that range as well. The other thing I want to do is look at the actual text on the card and see what it is that they kind of had in mind when they designed her, as to what, you know, what they were thinking. So, Tempting Witch enters the battlefield, create a food token. It's an artifact with pay 2 colorless, tap it, sacrifice the artifact, you gain 3 life. So she gets life back from creating food tokens. Or you can sacrifice a food token and target player loses 3 life. So kind of poisoned food. So let's go with that kind of theme. Maybe she's hexing, using some sort of a hex or a poison attack to lure people in. So that's the other thing we might want to look at as well too, is maybe putting together something where she might have a really high charisma or some kind of a spell like Charm Person that's bringing people to her, that's allowing them to feel more comfortable around her, where she can lure them into her cottage and give them food that's poisoned, that might stop them from going anywhere else. So let's take a look at the Witch's Cottage. It's a land card, it's a swamp. You can tap it to add 1 black mana. It's pretty fair. Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield tapped. Okay, that's great, unless you control 3 or more swamps. When the Witch's Cottage enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target creature card from your graveyard on top of your library. Interesting. So maybe when she creates this food and she charms the person into eating it and inviting her into her cottage, the person maybe, if they succumb to the poison, they become maybe a thrall under her control. Or maybe, maybe if they die from the poison, she brings them back as a zombie or some sort of a undead kind of creature. So that's an interesting thing there. And all this stuff is right here. And I'm not going to go through it step by step, but it's interesting that this is a great section of the Dungeon Master's Guide for 5th edition, and that it gives you these cool abilities to create new monsters. So over here we have name, size, type, alignment, ability score modifiers. It even gives you a chart for how many experience points you'll get for defeating her, and building a stat block and such. Hit dice. This is all starting on page 273 and going through quite a few pages here. How much damage they do. Save for spell casting. So we might want to really look into that a little bit as well too, because we want to know how good she is at charming people, and maybe what her save difficulty class is for charming people into her home, where she can feed them these pies. We'll use the pie card. You go with that theme of feeding them a pie, right? And let's take a look at the pie card and see what the pie card says. Maybe they'll give us some more ideas as well too. Destroy target creature, create a food token. It's an artifact, like it says before. So this is just a destruction card. Destroys the target creature. So yeah, obviously we want a poison that she produces or is created out of maybe some herbs or flowers of the swamp that she lives in, and the poison is strong enough to actually kill people. It says to destroy a target creature, and then her ability is to use the food token to bring people back, to use them as zombies or thralls of some kind. So a really quick kind of look at how I like to create new creatures and stuff for D&D to kind of throw my players off. So interesting that you can just use these cards to get some really great inspiration for things. So we just created, we didn't go through the entire process, but basically created a new creature in which we have this cool witch that tempts people into her cottage, in which she feeds them some pies, which are poisoned by using Charm Person or some other ability. And once they succumb to the poison, she brings them back as some kind of a thrall. Another thing I really think is fun as well too is if I want a really major NPC for a campaign or for a one-shot kind of thing, is to use a card. Let's see, what did I do with it here? Even like Wicked Guardian. We could use this card as inspiration to create some kind of evil noble in order to be the person pulling the strings behind the entire campaign, to make it an NPC or some kind of villain. Here, Sir Conrad the Grim would make a really great villain to run your entire campaign around. And maybe he employs or has somehow worked with the tempting witches in order to bring about an army of undead, and he's using those as thralls to do that kind of stuff as well too. So just a quick little video today, a little unboxing of things and inspiration that you can use in order to create new baddies, new foes for your D&D 5th edition games and or campaigns. So until next time, I'm Questwise, and I am out.